Welcome back to another show of the Classics in Conversation. Today we're talking Psycho, and we're joined by the absolutely delightful Emily Murray. Hi, Emily.
Hey, how are you both?
Good. Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Cracking.
Yeah, it's another day in lockdown, but what makes it better is talking to friends about films.
We're glad to have you here. Would you tell us a little bit about you? What do you do?
I am a journalist, a film journalist. I run the editorial at Zavvi, but I also freelance. I pop up in various places like Yahoo, BBC, Film Stories. I just like movies, like a lot, like an unhealthy amount. That pretty much sums it up.
That's a perfect way of summing it up, I think.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about Psycho. So obviously it's the 1960s Psycho, not the Strange remake. Although we might mention that later, maybe. So first off, what are your opinions on the film?
I mean, it's Psycho. It is a masterpiece. It's funny though, like I hadn't seen it until last year. Because I'm a bad film fan. Is this well, I thought that like most of my cinema education was from my dad, and he's not really massive into horror at all. So I didn't really watch horror until I met my boyfriend, who's a massive horror fan. But I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there's so many new releases. It's like hard to find a time for the classics.
Yeah.
So last year during lockdown, like I really caught up basically with like a lot of Hitchcock, like a lot of classic films. And I watched Psycho, and it's interesting because even though I knew obviously about the shower scene, because it's the most famous scene in cinema history, I didn't really know too much else about it. Like I didn't know about the twists or the turns.
Oh, really?
Really.
Like that, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I was like really surprised. I mean, I must have known, like maybe I did know, but I didn't remember while I was watching it. But like it really shocked me. And considering this is, is it 1960? I think it is. Like, considering I watched it for the first time 60 years later. And it still had that huge impact on me. Like that's insane. But it's funny because I rewatched it this week for the podcast, and I started like writing notes. But I wrote like one note, which was just sex at the start. and then I got so distracted by the movie, I didn't write anything else. So my notes just read sex with like loads of X's as well.
Nice, yeah.
Nice, yeah, I like that.
I love it.
I feel like that's how like a lot of people wrote about it when it first came out. Just lots of X's and some like just distractions. There was like, I think we'll get onto it a bit later about like how it was received, but I think that was like a massive part.
Yeah, for sure.
The shockingness of the
it is like shocking. Like as in even 60 years later, like he is the master of suspense, as we know. Like it still has such an impact. And also I'm obsessed with women in Hitchcock, like because I think I watched like North by Northwest, Vertigo, Rear Window, like all these films in like a week. Like I don't know, but he just picks some very attractive ladies.
For real.
For
they
his
definitely
films.
like, I think if you lined them up, I think there's gonna be like a lot of similarities there. He's kind of like, he's got a type, like
Oh yeah
100%.
It's like I'm like she's very nice to look at.
Yeah
I love
she's
the
one
fashion.
of my first notes. Like literally here it says she is so beautiful.
But it's just like
really.
it brings like an elegance to it. Again, like that sort of elegance you see early on with like her outfits, and she's like in her underwear. Like that's why it also makes the violence really shocking, because it's just such a stark contrast. But I don't know, I'm obsessed with Hitchcock women and how they dress, and she's quite a different one as well, because it really establishes at the start that she's not a good person.
Definitely. And like you say, she's glamorous without being like really glamorous. Like I know it sounds like it makes no sense,
like,
but she's like a
sleazy.
working gal who's just got like a great sense of like what she's wearing and like how her hair's styled.
Basically, I just want to be a Hitchcock woman, please.
Literally.
One day.
I was like,
ideally not murdered.
Or attacked by loads of birds.
Well, that's it. Yeah. I love her though. You can do it, girl. You take his money. You look fantastic. You have great hair. Your daughter's incredible. Yes.
Yeah.
All of it. All of it.
All of the things. Yeah, definitely. What about you, G? What's your opinion on the film?
It's like Emily said, like, it's Psycho, isn't it? It's it's Psycho. I think it's definitely one of those films that its legacy and its reception and its place in the cinematic canon, I wouldn't say like overtakes from the film. I wouldn't say overshadows it, but I think it's very, very it's like one of those films that is difficult to say anything bad about because of where it stands.
Like,
do you know what I mean?
You know it's a classic and you don't actually have to watch it to ever back it up.
Yeah.
I know.
Like, you have the confidence of what 60 years worth of positive reinforcement that it is that good.
It makes me laugh though, because some of the reviews when it came out, I think we said this with Luke and Ben about The Thing. People said about The Thing when it came out that it was shite, and people said about this like, this is the worst film ever. What's Alfred Hitchcock doing?
Really gimmicky.
Because it's so different. That's the key to its success. But like, obviously it's like we have hindsight now, so like we understand why it was so impactful, but I can see why 1960 audiences would react in that way.
Yeah, imagine being that film critic now, looking at it and being like, oh, damn it, I made a mistake.
That wasn't me.
My career.
Literally,
right? Even there, not me.
But I have this thing, right, where sometimes I panic that, like, let's say I give a film a bad review today. I'm like, will I be a moron in like 10 years' time? Like, have I done like a Psycho? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Psycho. Literally.
I feel though, like, I definitely feel like if that was the case when you turned around and we were like 80 and you were like, I changed my mind and I now feel this, I'd be like, respect to you, Emily. Like, I've always said, like, even if you have an opinion on something and you then learn stuff and your opinion changes based on the knowledge that you've gained or whatever, like, I'm fine with letting people try and, you know, like, have another go at their opinion. I'm like, go on then, I will listen.
Try again.
Try again now with a bit more information.
I think it's Psycho, isn't it? It's a classic. It's not just a staple of horror cinema, not just a staple of the thriller genre. It's literally just a staple of cinema in general. You know, it's that level. You know,
I think it's interesting as well because, like, I think you can kind of, there's certain bits of it that you would be forgiven for forgetting that it's a horror film. Like, when there's like no stabbings going on, you're watching like essentially a heist movie a bit. You're watching like a cat and mouse. You're watching sort of like not like a typical detective, but those like her sister and is it Fred, a fella, are like going to try and find her, and then you get like the bits with his mother at the end, and you're like, oh, actually no, this is
terrifying.
Genuinely like a real horrific element. And I think with some of the classic films we were talking about, we were saying, you know, is it actually a horror film looking back now? But I think this like definitely like keeps its horror tag like spot on.
I know what you mean. Like, it surprised me how long it takes to get to like the murder bit. But also I like the setup. Like, I really, because I like how I said it surprised me that she's like a bad person. Like, she steals like all this money, and I know sort of like that's why she kind of has to die. But because obviously like in that time, like, she's immoral, and it does take time to get to the, because it does start with a shower scene, but then like the violence just like, it's like there's no violence minutes and you're like, here, have all of it.
An amazing point, because I didn't really think about it that way, but you're absolutely right. Like, she is immoral with her sex and her money stealing.
It's like established from the opening scene. She's having sex with a married man, which back in 1960s a no. I mean, even today, like, it's still
this is absolutely right. And with the production code, I think we're going to touch on some bits of that later as well, with regards to lavatories. But,
oh my god,
I was
toilets,
yes, we are.
Like, even showing a couple who were not married in bed together was like, no, you don't. Let alone one of them being married. So it was, like you said, from the initial opening, she is painted, like you said, this taboo character, this.
Yeah, like I think Marion's so interesting because she's not your typical like female lead for the time. Like she steals money, she's having sex with a married man. She's clearly not a good person. Like she runs away with like clearly no plan, by the way. Like it's like the worst thought out decision ever seen in cinema. But then also crucially, she like gets killed off a third of the way through. So we have this main character, but she dies, and then you're like, like. Even today, when main characters of movies die, or sort of like the main female character dies, like I remember watching like The Dark Knight where they kill Rachel off. And like it's still like I feel like these like female characters are just expected to just like sort of be protected and sort of just live. Like even that was a shock in itself.
Yeah, and I think like Scream does it as well really well. With Drew Barrymore, because I think that comes as like a real shock because she's like the face of that first film. Follow all the marketing and that side of things, and then within like the first 15 minutes like she's already dead and then like really long forgotten. But I think you're right, like I think there's definitely like it does come as a more of a shock when like the main character is killed off, especially so as much as we said the violence takes a while to happen. Once it's done, she's done. There's no like then hour-long fight for her survival. Like she falls over in the tub and that's it, like end of story.
It's quick.
Moving on to someone else. I
think it's interesting as well because it allows the narrative to switch to Norman Bates, and I feel that like obviously we don't know what's actually going on, but I don't know about you guys, but like I felt quite sorry for him. Like it was weird because as the car
as per my notes, I did not.
Oh, did you not? See, I don't know, like I felt a little bit sorry for him because like he clearly is shy, awkward. At the moment we think he's trying to cover up his, victim of his mother.
Yes.
And I just feel that like, I feel like he's been through quite a lot of trauma. Like he definitely seems to sort of be struggling. And there's a moment where the car stops sinking. And I'm like, sink, god damn it, sink. Like, let Norman, be okay. Obviously, your feelings towards him change as like truth is revealed, etc. But I think it's really interesting, sort of switching from Marion's perspective to his perspective. And I feel like that's clever of Hitchcock because it allows us to step into his shoes and sort of empathize with the character. Except for you didn't, Heather.
No, I didn't. I was like, no.
Except for you.
No.
Unless you didn't either, Georgie.
I think if you take a step back and look at it kind of in an analytical and critical sense, the way that these kind of sympathetic characters are made is fantastic. And I love the switcheroo when you've got someone that you can kind of get that sympathy for and then be like, oh wait, no, you're a literal trash human, you're a terrible person. Fantastic writing. But I part of me does for about 30 seconds and I'm like, you're a bit creepy.
Yeah,
that's a bit creepy.
I feel like he would have really damp hands all the time.
Clammy.
That's the worst. And a weak handshake.
Yes, 100%.
But again, I still feel that like I don't know. I just get the impression his mum was really harsh on him, and that's caused him to be sheltered. So I feel that like I still feel a bit bad for him, even though he is creepy.
No, I get what you mean. Like I think with
a little bit creepy.
With like the Bates Motel having come out. Like, I feel like now I sort of almost have, like, too much knowledge to, like, look at.
Normal. Yeah, I haven't seen it, so...
I've not seen that either,
I saw, like, a bit. Like, I must admit, I didn't continue beyond, like, the first few episodes. Sorry. Just because I was, like, I was filling a Hannibal void that couldn't be filled, and I just went back to Hannibal. So, and obviously, like, there's that idea, especially in horror, of like the overbearing mother sort of figure. And like you say, there's a lot of hints that was what happened to him. And then when they speak to the older couple later on and they reveal about the poisoning, I can see like where that sympathy would come from. But No. Like my note about him that I sent to G before is Norman.
Poetry.
Norman is the guy that you meet on a train who sits next to you and talks to you, and you're too polite to tell him to go away. So you get off the train 5 stops early. Yeah, he's that guy.
But this, I would never want to speak to him. But from afar, on my TV screen, it's okay.
It's okay. I definitely just felt like you've got this person who's turned up in the middle of the night, and like, I don't know about you guys, but like the last time I came to London, like by myself and stayed in a hotel, like I wasn't having tea with the hotel guy. I was like
stuffed birds.
No, I was like getting a burrito, and I was like locking my hotel door and like not talking to anybody. But I think that like, is that because we're not as trusting as 1960s American women, or
maybe? I just think Marion's a loose cannon. Like at the end of the day, she just randomly stole 40k and just ran off with it. So,
God, I love her.
But I definitely think like I also would have run off with that money. Like,
no, but that guy was an absolute grade A dickhead.
So. Someone as well who works.
But actually, there's such property, a funny line.
I was like, "You're such a scumbag. I would rob your money." But
there's a really funny line where the other woman's like, what did she say? She's like, "Oh, he must have seen my ring."
Oh yeah, he was flirting with you.
Han.
Yeah.
He must have seen. He's like, he's not flirting with you because Marion's hotter.
Like, please have a word with yourself. Okay,
that's funny. That's actually like really funny. That made me laugh anyways.
I love it.
I don't know. I think like Anthony Perkins as Norman is fantastic because he does like he invited a bit of sympathy from me.
He's got this sort of like perfect face for the later on psycho face.
So
100%,
he's got the kind of like, they both have like quite big like Bambi eyes, so it's all very clear and they're very bright. And he's definitely wearing eyeliner. Like, I will like die on that hill. That boy's got coal lines on. They're so neat and tidy. And then later on when he's like sat on a stool or whatever he's doing, and there's that voiceover, and he like tilts his head and does the smile. I was like, spot on, like absolutely perfect.
He was really typecast after that, wasn't he?
But I think my boyfriend said he was like proper traumatized after as well because he just couldn't escape the Norman Bates character.
I think it's weird, isn't it? Because there are some people that do suffer with that terribly. Daniel Radcliffe. I think that with the way that Anthony Perkins played the character, I just think it was fantastic. I think it also played a lot into like, because Anthony Perkins was gay, wasn't he? I think that was like a big thing, because sexuality in the film, again, with Marion going around being a floozy, it was like it was a big tool.
Floozy.
Whore.
A $2 whore.
Oh God, I love her so much. But like, there's a bit of the train station, when he's talking to the guy before it's kind of established that he's got this split personality. And he's like, oh no, that's not what it is. And then obviously the train guard says what the train guard says. I think it's really, really interesting because, like you said, he does invite that kind of level of sympathy when you think about it in terms of that kind of split personality issue. And I just think he plays the part perfectly, because a lot of times you can look at things and be like, oh, I think so-and-so would have been good at that, or I think I could see that getting remade with XYZ. But with him, I'm like, no. To be fair, same with Janet Leigh. I'm like, no, you're perfect.
What queen.
She's great. And I love that her daughter's Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yes.
Who was then in Halloween. So it's like
the perfect legacy. The perfect legacy. This is what we were talking about actually as you joined. We were saying like Janet Leigh is like probably like the OG Scream Queen. 100%. Is she your favorite Scream Queen, would you say? I think Jamie Lee.
I really like Laurie Strode. And I think I watched like Halloween a lot earlier than I watched Psycho, and also I feel that like, because I've seen Laurie Strode in like the most recent Halloween film as well. I don't know. I
feel
a bit more, which is so good, and I just feel a bit more attached to her because,
like, I know it was like a bit cheesy, but like I loved it. I was like, "You go ahead, Larry."
And the way she's got like her daughter, and like it's like woo, feminism. But I just feel
the little safe room under the floor in the kitchen. I was like prepared.
But I really do like Marion Crane. But she's a bit thick, like she's not thick.
Get wrecked, Marion.
She writes her name, doesn't she?
Yeah.
In the book, and then when he asks her for her name, she says Marion Crane.
Yes,
it's like, come on, hon. Like,
first of all,
girl,
when she said it was like, when she said
Marsha
it was Crane, I was like, oh, is she just saying that because he's like super into birds? And he'd be like, oh yeah, and then she's like, actually, it's not, it's whatever else, and she's off to go, and she's on the run. But no, that's actually the name. Like, I'd be like, oh yes, my name is Janet.
But she wrote a fake name down in the records, so like, just stick with a fake name, Marion. Good lord, like,
Pick a name. I was like reading the description earlier on. And it says about her going on the lamb. And I was like, do people go on the lamb anymore? Like, that's so exciting. Yeah, you used to go on the lamb when you went on the run.
Oh, really? No, people just see you go on a run now, don't you?
And I was like, what a fun turn. Like,
I've never heard of that. It's cute.
But also, like, when she's like changing her car and there's a police officer watching it, she doesn't really like. I'm like, Marion, act less suspicious.
I know. She's like, oh my gosh, like, policeman.
I know.
Hey, so cool, please.
I mean, I love her.
I'd have literally
so poorly
got that guy, and I'd have been like, that man is like,
follow me, like
an
creepy
abuser, and I'm trying to get away. Can you please help? Instead of just being like shady lady trying to change a car over.
She is a shady lady, indeed.
I don't know why, but like when she was in the bathroom, it kind of reminded me of the bloody thing, Gone Girl. You know when Amy goes to the truck stop bathroom, and she's like dyeing her hair and stuff. I don't know why, but instant flashbacks. I was like,
I know that.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that Gone Girl was. I mean, everything's inspired by like films like Psycho.
Yes,
so
absolutely, So we touched upon it, like, it's so good, like, so good. We touched upon it a little bit earlier when we were saying about all the things that have sort of shocked and also changed, and we sort of talked about the toilet very briefly. Should we elaborate on why we keep
I think we should leave it at that, and then
we just like toilets,
mystery
big fan of toilets,
and not just a toilet, a flushing one
specifically.
So we'll leave that there.
But like, I do think it's mad, like, when we will reveal that it's the first ever flushing toilet on screen now, but do you not think that is mad? Like,
1960
what's wrong with, like, to me it's like, what's wrong with it?
Like,
why is that such a
like, if you think about it, when are you seeing like a flushing toilet like outside of a toilet cleaning advert?
It's so weird because in cinema, toilets are so friggin' weird. It's not like it showed anything gross in it. It was a ripped up note, you know?
Yeah.
The only time you see toilets on film is when it's like an indie film and they're trying to show that a woman isn't like other girls, so she pees with the door open and you can hear her pee. That always happens. Why? There's no need for that. Shut the door.
Nightclub scene.
Yes! Nightclub scene. Yeah.
Although we have all been there in the toilets and the nightclub with our friends.
So stressful. I hated that every single time. I'd be like, just let me pee in peace. I'm so
the worst was
I need
unisex
to sit
toilets.
And contemplate my life.
Yeah, unisex toilets in clubs, I would never understand.
See, now I'm not really bothered about unisex toilets. Like, I have no problem there. Like, I always thought that was better because then the actual flow of traffic is smaller.
I suppose.
Flow of traffic.
As someone who has to pee quite a lot, especially after a beer,
but it doesn't help the anxiety of the other flow.
No, that's fair.
Like, I just want to have like a wee whilst talking to my friends.
Sometimes you've got to like strategize while you're in there and tell all the other girls how much you love them and give someone life advice that you've never met.
Oh yeah,
good
in
times.
a big way.
That's the only time we see toilets. Like,
club scenes and indie edgy girls who aren't like other girls.
Yeah.
And you hear them pee for some reason.
Yeah.
That's why it's crazy. Like, as you said, like, this isn't even someone peeing.
It's a good piece of paper.
Pushing down a note. But I feel that, like, the code of that time was just so strict.
Yeah.
Like, so strict. And I feel that, like, Hitchcock just wanted to rip it up, which is why he, like, as we said earlier, like, it starts out and she's, like, just shagged a married man and she's in the underwear and in bed. Like, it's like from the first minute, he's like, right, this is what this film's gonna do. Get ready to be shocked. And he just takes it from there. But he really struggled to get it financed, didn't he? So he had to
did it himself.
He did it himself. And he
Paramount little wimps.
Yeah, he like didn't take any money. He didn't take his like normal director's fee. And I think he like threatened to go and take it to like a competitor. So they were like, right, fine, okay, if you pay for it yourself and you charge us no money, I also wouldn't let anybody watch it before it came out. So he didn't let like any critics see it like before the first opening.
And he like bought all the books, didn't he?
Yeah,
it's
he
based
bought all
on the
of
book.
Robert Bloch's books.
He was like, no one will know the story. I feel bad for the author, like because like they feel bad for the author now because he's probably like made a shit ton of money since this film came out.
He's probably doing all right.
But like at the time, I'd have been like, excuse me, what?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Bought it for like, I'm sure he bought it for quite like a small amount, like $9,000 or something. Yeah. The problem is that if Alfred Hitchcock was like, I'll give you $9,000 for your book, you'd be like, okay,
yeah,
thank you, sir. Like, sure, my book about Ted Bundy, that's fine. Please take it. Everybody wants it.
But it's interesting. I think it's like it's kind of like an exploitation movie, like Hitchcock's own version, because it's like made out of studios. You know, there's no like Paramount, etc. And it's just he just did what he wanted, and like the sexual nature of it and the graphic violence, like that's all like exploitation cinema at the time.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting way of looking at it. It's funny to think of like Psycho being an extreme horror film, but like as a point, it would have been like pushing loads of boundaries. But again, it goes back to the fact that like horror films are always at the front of pushing all the boundaries and being cinematic masterpieces.
This is it. I mean, we say this all the time because
it's literally every week.
Literally, and
every week.
Horror, like you said, it is the thing. And you know, I'll shout out honorable mention to sci-fi. It is the thing that pushes forward cinema in so many aspects. I mean, look at Blair Witch, that literally created found footage genre. You know, this obviously is just, I can't list everything that this helped influence. You know, and like so much of what he had to do,
like literally in the influence that's absolutely bananas. Regular cinema screening times.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't even think that was something.
What a concept,
you know.
What a concept. That reminds me of Thursday.
What a concept.
What a concept.
It's interesting. But I feel my thing with horror is obviously because of the nature of the genre, it does allow for the extreme, which is why obviously it's just natural then that it will push the boundaries, because like you wouldn't have that in like a rom-com or like a typical romantic drama. Do you know what I mean? Like like there's the very nature of the genre just allow for the extreme. But I was thinking like obviously it's filmed in black and white, and that was a choice Hitchcock made partly because of budget, because he was funding it himself. But I don't think they would have let that be filmed in colour.
No.
Anyways,
I think as well they managed to get away with like some choice like effects because it was black and white. So, Janet Leigh's blood is actually chocolate sauce.
Ooh, yummy.
So
this is it. Like, it's so weird the different things that he had to jump through just to get like hoops that he had to jump through to get his film made. So like in some countries,
this is after he was successful as well. It's just,
for real. Like in some countries they were like, oh no, you can't show the blood going down the drain. And in some countries they were like, oh no, you can see a hint of a boob. And I'm like, you know, it's like all these different things.
You really can't. Like when you watch that, it's just like looking at like a shop mannequin because she's covered. She's literally wearing almost like a bodysuit of like fake skin stuff.
And it's so interesting because I think it just like you said, because it can push those boundaries because it's horror. He had such a fight with the people who kind of had the production code in place because I sent it back to him like, I saw a butt. Get rid of it. And he was like, okay. Just kept hold of it. Didn't change anything. It was either a butt or a boob. I can't remember. Kept hold of it. Didn't change anything. Yeah, and then sent it back, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's fine now. Like,
yeah. And I think, wasn't it something like they had to sign off on the fact that the knife never actually touches the skin?
Yeah.
I think that was quite a big one.
And some people were like, make her scream less. It's like, right, okay.
Because she's getting stabbed to death. Come on.
Tone that down, like 0.4 of a scream, please.
Imagine like, oh no, stop. No.
I did like that she did a I do declare at the beginning. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
So she could just do that while she's getting stabbed. That would pass all the things.
I think that's fair.
That's totally fair.
I mean, another thing, like, in terms of changing, like, cinema, changing horror, like, I don't know, like, there probably were sort of serial killer movies before, but when I think of horror before then, I think of, like, Dracula and Frankenstein, like, all these big sort monsters. Of universal monster movies, like, and trying to, maybe there were serial killer films before.
No, but I think you're right. I definitely think you're right in terms of a man with a knife.
Yeah.
Like the sort of like slasher man with a knife.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that this is probably one of, if not the sort of first predecessor to that kind of thing. Because I don't know, because I definitely don't think like the sort of like serial killer obsession was so rife then.
Yeah.
Because I suppose like this is revealing a lot about mine and Georgie's conversations, but I said this to Georgie the other day that we haven't really had like a very famous serial killer in the last few years, and it seemed to be like honestly, I was like, but like as famous as like Ted Bundy.
The Zodiac Killer,
that kind of thing, Zodiac Killer. You know, there's a lot of them in a relatively short period of history. And I think that's never been as popular in terms of obviously like media consumption as it is at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, he was loosely based on Ed Gein, wasn't he? Norman Bates, who lived apparently just down the block from Robert Bloch.
No, wasn't it Ted Bundy?
No, it was Ed Gein. He wasn't pretty enough to be Ted Bundy.
I'm sure Ted Bundy was later as well.
Yeah. He was like 80s. I'm not going to get too much into serial killers after my past history on the internet. You know, but that sounds terrible out of context. But,
it does.
Do you want to put a small cliff note in there?
Yeah. But I think that the way that happened, slasher films really hit their stride in the 70s. And to be fair, I'm going to be as bold as to say I think 70s was the best decade for horror films.
Ooh.
I think one of.
Okay.
I think some very, very iconic films came out in that time. And I think that, I do think, I'm literally racking my brain now. I think slasher-wise, or like serial killer-wise, I can't think of anything that would have happened before that.
That's what I'm thinking with Psycho.
Do you know what I mean? Like with the knife kind of.
Yeah. Because I feel like that whole knife action is like the template for then what came after, because it's like if you think of that, you then think of like No Face with his knife, and you've got Halloween as well, and like Prom Night. I was like, oh, it was a far reach then, but like I liked it though. I love Prom Night. I
think that's the thing that's so scary about Psycho is because it also feels real. Like everything about it is like sleazy motel, creepy lad with a mama problem. Like, do you know what I mean?
Right, like, we've all met them. Like,
and also like I could like if you were alone in a motel in a shower, that's probably when you would get stabbed to death. So literally. And there's a swab. Like he can literally bury. Like it just feels.
Yeah. It's so perfectly constructed that it's so unassuming at first glance. But when you like take the layers back, you're like really creepy house on a hill, really creepy deserted motel.
And what a house! Like
what a house!
What a house! Like
a great house.
To be fair,
Like I would live in that house and run the motel, but I just wouldn't murder anyone.
That's it's good to know.
That's good to know. Yeah.
It's great though because, like you said, it has the atmosphere in the construction, and like Bernard Herrmann, who wrote the score for it.
The score.
John Williams is great. We love him, but literally name more iconic piece of music in cinema than
the screech. Yeah,
it's literally the noise everybody
makes.
Because
it just slices through the scene and slices through like your body as well, because it's just really sharp, like string notes, and it's just
it's entirely it's entirely string instruments as well all the way through. So I think all the way through, like I was definitely from the minute she got in the car and the music starts, I'm like, oh, intense. Like
you're like on edge, immediately.
Like, it's happening. Like,
and it's really interesting how films still use that. I watched Promising Young Women recently, and
it's so good,
isn't it?
Oh god,
I mean that's a whole different conversation.
It's a whole separate episode,
but they have a string version of Toxic in that, and the composer basically listened to the Psycho soundtrack whilst like making this, because like that's what I'm saying. Like it just still has. Like Psycho and Promising Young Women, complete different ends of the spectrum, but the music in that moment is so Psycho-like. It's like that's what we're saying about how influential it is. It's not just horror; it's like even that one note in that film, like everything.
Yeah, editing too. I mean, Jesus, the way that shower scene was shot. I wrote the stats down. So it's 77 different camera angles. It lasts for 3 minutes with 50 cuts,
and it took 7 days.
7 days.
7 days, which seems now absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Like you'd have that in a day.
And they wanted to allude to the sense of nudity because, God forbid, there's already a toilet. Let's calm it down.
No bottoms here, please.
Yeah. So they were trying to focus on like hands and feet and hair and shoulders and stuff. But it's the way that that's edited. Apparently, I read that he took it from like Soviet montage filmmaking, like the quick cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
And the way that that's filmed is just, it's a 3 minute long scene, and it's iconic, isn't it? It doesn't. If you've never seen the film, all you have to do is go like, and people know what it is. And the shower scene, definitely. And it's Psycho.
I doubt there is a more recognizable piece of music other than potentially the Exorcist.
Other than potentially our next episode.
True.
Jaws.
Oh yeah.
Again, not many notes. You don't need that many notes. Stop making music with so many notes.
Something complicated.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys whether there's any bit of Psycho you don't think's like aged very well, because I have like the mansplaining at the end, having one man just tell me.
Yeah, that was weird.
Listen, lads, like, come on, like this. I don't know. It's just he just explains everything. It just feels a bit stilted now, but I don't know if that's just because we're not sort of used to that dynamic, and maybe because we know a bit more about like split personalities, multiple personality disorder, etc. Like maybe in 1960, that's why they did need mansplaining.
Yeah, I think that's quite like.
I love that. Yeah.
That's like a really American like tropey thing of wrapping everything up dead neatly and being like, this is exactly why this man did this, so you don't have the fear of just being like attacked for no reason. Like we know his full motives, why he did what he did, and now you're safe because there he is on a stool in a blanket or whatever he's doing.
Like it just feels too much. Cats. Oh god, yeah.
You know,
I'm so excited. Where's this going? Yeah
the cats, when Judi Dench kind of just goes,
it's sat in a fountain.
Cats are not dogs, and just start explaining it to the camera, a bit like that.
To be honest, Georgie, I tried to erase all my memory of cats, so thanks.
I'm so sorry, I brought that back for you.
Cats, I think Cats was like the last film we ever watched together, wasn't it? Not ever, ever, but like recently.
I mean, hopefully like not ever.
The last one we watched in the cinema, it's probably better.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean about like, I don't know, it's a bit still just having this one man explain everything. But I understand also at the time they probably did need
the wrap up.
And it was always going to be a man explaining.
It also kind of reminds me of the Doctor in why can't I remember anything today? Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay,
I haven't seen Rocky Horror,
like,
so...
Oh my god! Okay, so there's like a guy who's sat behind a desk and he like narrates the whole thing, and he's like, "So this is what's happening," and then like you watch a bit, and then he comes back and he just tells you exactly what you're seeing.
I know what you mean. It does feel quite jarring, I think, compared to the whole rest of the film, which is so elegantly put together and so fluid and so.
And there's still a bit of ambiguity there, but it's like, right, going to sit down now for 5 minutes. No tension, like just listen.
Like, I don't know whether that was to try and like calm us down after like this like big reveal.
Yeah.
Calm everybody down, and then there he is again to like with the voiceover, and then you get the face. And then are we meant to be like back on eased?
I think it's definitely an interesting choice, and I think that's a really, really good point, I think, that Emily made about it being brought up and how that sits with the rest of it and how it's aged with it.
I think that's the only bit that sort of has aged poorly, because we still have like a man explaining the plot, like even Knives Out, like obviously we have Daniel Craig sort of explaining at the end what's been going on, but that's quite different because like I actually do need it explaining like what's been happening. But I feel like in Psycho we kind of know, but I appreciate obviously 6 years later we understand mental health a bit more, and maybe as it was different for the time. That's the only bit I think for me that was just a bit jarring, a bit stilted.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I definitely think maybe it might have warranted an explanation a bit then, but now you just sort of like I could do without. Like we've just seen it, we know what's happening.
You've got enough knowledge now that the inference is there, you know, that we don't need to have. Because they say it, don't they? Again, at the train station. I'm not obsessed with that part. It's just a bit it's illustrating my point. Like he says, oh, he's got split personality. Like and they say that, you know, but yeah, that's a good point, I think.
That's like my only negative though to say about Psycho.
It's a very valid one, to be fair. Yeah.
I should watch the remake just out of curiosity. Have you guys seen it?
The remake.
I've not seen it. I can't bring myself to watch it.
I don't know.
Who's even in it?
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn, and I don't know who the woman is. But my friend told me it's shot for shot, but they added like a masturbation scene in.
It is identical apart from maybe an add-in. Yeah, I'm sure it's meant to be identical. Because as well, at one point, I think it was like H&M were doing like a range, or Primark were doing the t-shirts. And it was the remake Psycho with Vince Vaughn on the front.
Yeah, like why would you have that?
It's so weird.
I think because it's shot for shot, like also I don't think Psycho is one of those films that doesn't need remaking, but I feel that I also am intrigued to sort of just see how bad it is.
No, I'm looking on Google Images. Emily, don't do it, please.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Is it Gus Van Sant? Is he?
It's Gus Van Sant.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn and
oh my God, Julianne Moore's in it. Julianne Moore, no.
Who plays Marion in it?
Anne Hesh. I've never heard of it. Is that bad?
I mean, that probably just killed her career.
Well, I mean, I literally wouldn't be able to blame him. Yeah, no, I've just looked at all the images of Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates, and the section where Norman dresses up as his mother, it actually looks like a piss take in the remake.
So oh really? Oh no!
You can cut this out for copyright if you want her.
Oh my God!
That doesn't look. Yeah,
that's a real.
I should say though that Vince Vaughn plays a great serial killer in Freaky. He's
I haven't watched it.
I haven't seen it, but I really want to see it.
I mean, he does a lot of knife stabbing in that, and I mean that's not spoilers in the trailer, but he's actually very good in that. So he does play serial killer as well, just obviously as we've heard, not in the Psycho remake.
Yeah.
Also, I can't believe we haven't spoken about my main man, Arbogast. I just love Arbogast. I think he's got a great name, great personality.
Yes, he does have a great name. I
not like on screen long enough.
He kind of just turns up and is just stood in the doorway
he's just got
while they're like having a conversation, and he's like, "Hello."
Yeah,
like, who's this guy?
I just think he's so cool. I don't know what about him makes him really cool for me, but I just really like him.
Yeah, and he's really good at his job. Like he's like straight on the back.
I mean, he just get murdered,
wrong.
So
yeah, he's not.
Is he at his job? I don't know.
I mean, well, he knew it was Norman. To be fair, like he was like, right, you're sus. I'm gonna follow you around your creepy house.
Yeah, and Norman like proper gives himself away though. To be fair,
because he's creepy.
Yeah. But I still feel bad for him. He's got mummy problems. So.
There's a lot of discussion psychoanalytically regarding.
It's just analytically with this.
If George uses the word academically or analytically,
literally, why do I do this? Like about Norman and his mom and like the figure of mothers in horror and mothers as like representing.
But just I feel that like mothers in general, like even like I remember studying. God, I'm gonna sound like a nerd now because I studied because I did English at uni and I did Greek mythology and Greek literature. Like it all goes back from like the Oedipal plays and like that. So it's not just in. There's just something about it's when he says a boy's best friend is his mother. That's literally like such a theme in so much thanks to Oedipus and like just like Greek mythology. It's just but it's I just like there's something implied there that she I don't know if she was violent towards him or she just like was super like harsh or like she definitely sheltered him, but I there's something not.
It reminds me of the Red Dragon like mother figure. I don't think it's his actual mother, but like his matriarch. I think it's his grandmother, in fact. Obviously her abuse makes him like Red Dragon-y.
This is it. Like I think there's so much to be explored with that, and it's this whole thing, like you kind of said at the time, Emily, what was normal, what was immoral, what was expected, and to have a mother figure being so ferocious, so vicious, so controversial was completely against this kind of notion of a nurturing being.
And especially like that's like coming up to the American dream and like punching it in the face.
Yeah, which I think is really interesting. Especially like because there's 3 floors of the house.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
which can represent. I've got my notes. I'm reading like the ego, the super ego, and the id.
Nice.
And she lives in the basement. So that's like in the deepest recesses of his mind. Yeah, and he carries her from the top floor
to the fruit cellar.
And that's like how deeply she's ingrained in his psychology. I don't know if Alfred Hitchcock really cared that much about how many floors the hotel had, but I love to think he did.
I reckon he did.
It's generally scary as well when the chairs turn around.
Yeah. I thought as well the sort of like double exposure, like superimposition at the end when you're like looking at him and then he goes into like a little skull face. I was like
the cheeks and the eyes, isn't it? That
that was really good. Like I think it doesn't look shit considering it's 60 years old. Like that, and I think that body looks fine.
Like I know he did it partly for budget, but I feel like again it fits into sort of like exploitation cinema, like kind of like there's a bit of sleaze there, you know. It's just I think that black and white works, and as we said, like the violence, it sort of just tamed down the violence a little bit, but it looks great.
I think it keeps a lot of the authenticity like of it all quite well.
I think like it's a really weird thing to say because of course I can't imagine how that would translate to being in color with that. We're
gonna have to watch 98, aren't we?
No.
I think
do you know what I mean? Like I can't imagine that shower scene ever being anything apart from black and white.
I think you're right, because I think the minute you make that colour and you make that blood red, you've made it 100 times more violent and more brutal.
Yeah, definitely.
I totally agree. But yeah, you're right, it just looks great. Like
I watched it crisp as well. Like
I watched it on my I got a new 4K TV, all fancy, but it just looks
nice.
You know what I mean? It looks great still, like on the telly. It's just a good film.
I think the fact that it was filmed like in black and white, like it isn't a black and white film, like definitely keeps a lot of that clarity as well. Like and obviously like I assume like all of the things that we have now are like remasters, so they're looking like spot on anyway.
Super sharp.
I definitely like to see it on the cinema. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Like on a massive screen.
I think so. But as I said, it generally still has a shock factor to it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Which just like stands. Yeah, it's just stood the test of time so well. And like I feel that like a lot of horrors, obviously, this film like we do know it had a remake, but I feel that there's a reason why maybe it hasn't had as many like sequels or spin-offs or remakes compared to like other traditional horror properties, like even like Dracula or even like Halloween.
Oh my god, Dracula's had like a bazillion.
But it's because it's perfect, like as it is. And no one wants to touch Hitchcock.
I was gonna say, like who would even like have the balls to tackle it? Like
Gus Van Sant thought he did.
Thought he did. Thought being the important one.
Clearly did.
We haven't seen it, but so we can't know it's bad. But I feel like we do know it's bad.
I saw the stills on Google Images.
That Vince Vaughn picture is going to traumatize me for like ever now.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know if I can ever bring myself to do it. Like, I think I'll just be imagining him like in dodgeball, trying to be like Norman, and I'll be like,
this is it. Like, that's the thing. Like,
I just wouldn't cast him as Norman.
No, you wouldn't.
It's got like a big thumb head. You'd cast someone else. Like,
yeah. I know obviously that it's okay. Here's a good question. Then present day, 1998.
Literally, Ben Whishaw.
Oh, good choice.
Literally just went straight into my head.
Nice.
I don't know. Do you know what it is? It's because he's soft spoken and he's a bit awkward when he's like playing Q and stuff in Bond, and I feel like there's a certain irony with casting Paddington Bear as Norman Bates.
I do like that.
I don't know. Obviously he's British, but so it would be like a British Norman Bates in like an Ibis budget or something. That's it. It'll be an Ibis budget with Ben Whishaw and Florence Pugh as Barry and Crane.
Incredible!
I've done it. I've cracked it, guys. So.
I'm gonna throw it out there. I would cast Tom Hiddleston.
Oh yeah, that's
my
good.
Norman.
Yeah.
Strong. He can look creepy.
I would say he's a bit old, but
yeah, maybe a bit old. I don't know any young actors. I only know the old ones. I don't know who I'd cast as Marion.
I think
I put Margot.
No, I do. Oh, that'd be nice. That's good.
Oh yeah.
I would cast Rosamund Pike.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm going for I'm going the grown-ups version. Everyone's old in mine. Sorry,
Rosamund Pike plays cold blondes very well. To be
honest. And she's a bit of a bitch.
She's elegant.
Like I'm here for it. Yeah, and she's got that glamorous thing. Whereas if she was just being a realtor, that'd be fine. Maybe Blake Lively. Like she was really good in Simple Favor.
Yeah,
that
she was
amazing.
See, I go Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie is a very good shout
because she's got that beauty and that's what they always say, because Janet Leigh was the beauty, wasn't she? That's Margot Robbie now. And for Norman Bates, I'd go for Dane DeHaan maybe.
Oh, Dane DeHaan's so creepy.
Ooh. Yeah, he's got that face where I'm looking at him like, do I fancy you or am I scared of you?
Nice.
So I've just remembered, I'm going to send it to you guys. There's a picture of Tom with Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne, and he's he's interviewing them, but he poses just behind them. It's it's so creepy.
I need to see that.
There's also what's his face, little baby Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård.
Which one? There's Bill,
the baby.
There's Alex, there's loads.
Not Peter. The fit one,
Pennywise.
The baby one. Yeah.
Is it Peter Skarsgård? Have I just made that up? I don't know.
Is it Bill Pennywise?
There's Stellan, who's the old one. There's Bill.
There's so many Skarsgårds.
Let me just Google the family Skarsgård.
There's Alexander as well. He's slightly older.
Is he the attractive one? Yeah, he is.
Bill Skarsgård's the one who was Pennywise.
Are you trying to say that
Bill,
Stellan Skarsgård isn't hot? Because oh my god, Bill.
Do we need to have a conversation about Stellan Skarsgård?
He was I don't know, he's just, I don't know, there's something about it. Although Girl Drinker 2, no.
Yeah. That's a good shout, actually. Because he looks like the kind of person who would say, a boy's best friend is his mother. He looks like he would definitely say that.
If anyone ever said to me, a boy's best friend is his mother, I would run in the
I would leave.
direction.
Yeah, I'd literally be I'm going. That was one of my notes, I think. Where did I write that? My notes are really bad because I was writing on tiny paper. A boy's best friend is his mother. Grim.
It's the use of boy as well. Really...
He's still stuck as a child, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's again why I feel sorry for him, because
I think that shows the overbearing mother sort of thing. He's been almost forced to keep that boyish innocence. It's grim.
And it's such a thing in cinema, isn't it? You rarely hear men described as boys, but you often hear women described as girls. And one of my favourite ever things about a Captain Marvel film, many, was at the end when they say, "Oh, we're coming back for the weapon," and he goes, "Oh, the reactor," and he says, "No, the woman." And I remember Patty Jenkins, not Patty Jenkins, is it? No, it's who help.
Oh my god, brain work.
Because I was thinking. Pedro is in my head, so I
know Nia DaCosta's doing the
which is going to be incredible.
Oh my god, that's going to be incredible.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Anna Boden.
Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck.
Yeah. Anna Boden literally said, I deliberately know that if a man had written that, it would have been, no, we're coming back for the girl. But she was like, no, it's for the woman. I think it's really interesting because you so often hear women described as the girl, but you never hear it from men. So when he says a boy's best friend, I think it's like particularly jarring as well.
How old is Norman?
I'm going to say like 27, 28 maybe.
I was going to say late 20s, early 30s, I think.
Yeah. He looks young. How old was Anthony Perkins when he
back to IMDb?
Let's have a look.
I feel like definitely old enough to not be such a creepy
picture
bitch.
Of Bill Skarsgård just appeared. It's Pennywise. Anthony Perkins. Imagine if I could spell. That'd be cool, wouldn't
it? He was like 28, I think, because he was born in 1932, came out in 1960, so he would have been like 27.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's just got that face, hasn't he? Like you said, it's got that face that can elicit that element of sympathy.
Yeah, it's definitely very disarming, but I wouldn't get murdered by him. I saw straight through it. I was like, you're a creepy bitch. No, thank you.
Yeah.
A bit of a tangent, like in Promising, I probably will cut this back. Like in Promising Young Woman,
yes,
like they deliberately picked men that are painted as the nice guy, like my baby boy Adam Brody, who has been a
bad boy twice. My baby boy Schmidt from New Girl.
Oh my god, wasn't he Schmidt all over again? Though I was like, it's Schmidt.
It's Schmidt, but extreme Schmidt.
Yeah,
right.
It's Schmidt just lost his weight. Schmidt. Like,
yeah. Peak Schmidt.
I was so glad that it wasn't
if
Nick.
It was
like I know it's not his actual name, but if it had been Nick, I'd have been just crying.
The love of my life, Jake Johnson.
Yeah. So, what a baby.
He could not.
Yeah, he once recorded a video for me and I cried.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, I would have cried. Oh my god.
He was like, "Hey Emily, thanks for watching the show. Bye."
Wouldn't have been able to cope with that, to be honest.
Nah, I was working as well. I just started crying when Tom sent it to me because Tom interviewed him, and I was like,
I think I remember this. Was this like last year before?
I think it was a couple of years ago, but I reshared it last year because I think Jake Johnson was trending because he's just really wholesome.
Yeah,
he's a good egg.
And they're both dressed as mummies.
Nice.
But he's like, I like junkets. The PRs never let you take photos or videos. But Tom was like, my girlfriend's like in love with you. Like, do you mind if I have a quick photo? And Jake's like, I'll record her a video. Like,
so nice.
What a nice guy.
What a sweetie.
What an angel.
Yeah.
But like he could never be in that film because he's perfection. But like they deliberately cast people, didn't they, who had that disarming thing of like, they get cast in the roles as nice guys or the innocent guys or the and it's that choice I think is super interesting.
And I bet in Psycho no one expected Janet Leigh to play like a bad person.
I
don't like she's beautiful and blonde and elegant and that was such a like an interesting casting decision as well. And then her sister, I don't know who plays her sister, but they look so alike. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was brilliant casting. Like when she comes through the door, I was almost like for a split second, I thought it was her. It's just her again. Like this is a really great idea because then you'd be like, whoa, mind is blown. Oh, it's just a twin. That's okay, but obviously it's not.
Just a twin.
What? But she's like, I loved it. I thought she was really good because she's like really quite feisty as well. Like I like. Marion's parents, like they should be pretty proud because they were like, I mean, she wasn't great, but they were like feisty ladies who were like, doing their thing.
Heck yeah.
I love the sister, Arbogast. Not too keen on the married man. Sam, is that his name? Like
Sam, yeah.
No.
Didn't love him. Yeah.
I said Arbogast and Marion are my heroes.
I liked her friend that she worked with, like in the office, who was like, I have some pills if you want them. I was go ahead, girl.
And I said, like,
that's your pills.
One of my favorite lines is where she's like, oh, he must have noticed my wedding ring.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
You keep saying that to yourself, love.
I think it wasn't just pills, it was like full tranquilizers, right?
Yeah, she said they weren't like, they're not for headaches, but they'll like knock you out. I was like, okay.
Yeah. As soon as Marion said she had a headache, I was like, nah, you don't, love. You don't.
Yeah.
You're
going on the lam.
On the lamb. That's just
lamb.
Such a strange phrase to me. I think they use it in Sopranos though, actually. So now I think about it. So
yeah,
old school. I'm going to try and work it into everyday conversation.
You should do. You should.
Okay.
On the lamb.
Right. I think really we have kind of covered all the bits that we were going to cover. Georgie, anything else?
Oh my god, let me quickly look through my notes.
I mean, there's a lot with Psycho. This is
the
thing, we could be here all day.
So much.
No, I think we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we always ask the folks on socials sort of what their thoughts are and how they enjoyed the film and what makes it so special. So I'm just double checking we haven't got any extras left over. So
I think this week you haven't got one from me saying insert name here is a fitty.
Yeah, so every week we get hassled by a certain Georgie.broad on Instagram who just sends us strange messages
about someone being a fitty.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've already established that Marion's a fitty.
Yeah, she is
in the hierarchy.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very fair.
So let me just have a little look. So Lucy Sullivan, who is an absolute angel, actually wrote an essay about Psycho and the mother complex, which I have asked her if I can read it because it sounds really good.
Really good. Yeah.
But she also
we spoke a bit about the mother complex, but I'm sure Lucy's got plenty more to say. But not covered.
And she said it was a masterpiece that remains all the more terrifying for the implied violence and the superb score.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally agree.
Worded eloquently and beautifully as you would expect from Lucy to be.
Yeah, what a bit. And also we had one from Alan who says it's really good.
Love that.
So yes,
nice.
Yeah.
I mean that's it. Let's wrap it up there. Psycho.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Rate it. Yeah.
Great. May watch it again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think the main lesson taken away from Psycho is if a boy says his best friend's his mother, just run.
Leg it.
Absolutely.
Straight. Sprint away.
Don't accept sandwiches and milk from the man at the hotel. I mean, that's not a meal. That's really upsetting. I'll fix us some supper of sandwiches and milk. I was like, nope. Something wrong here. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emily. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. What a great note to end on, by the way.
Yeah.
I think so. Sandwiches and milk. Yeah.
I think that might be our little snippet for the week.
Yeah. I reckon so.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I love Psycho and I love films. I love you guys.
Yes,
and we love you
it's a big
too.
love fest, and it's been so good to get you on for this one because we need to have some good opinions on a classic. So
thank you.
It's been a pleasure,
and hopefully we'll be able to see you in actual person soon.
Yes, it's been far too long.
I know, it's been like a year, probably more than a year now.
It's probably been it'll definitely be like a year and a bit for sure.
Yeah, it's bananas.
It is bananas. So where can the people find you and find where you're up to and what you're up to?
I basically tweet a lot about my cat.
Nice.
Who is very beautiful and gorgeous, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, we love cats here. We've obviously got Parsnip as well.
We do.
But yes, you want to see more of my cat and film stuff, it's at Emily V Murray on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I can never remember my username. I think it might be the same. That's basically just cat photos.
Mm-hmm. It's hard work taking all the cat photos.
It is.
I'm always busy taking pictures of the cat.
I always share my work on Twitter, so that's probably the best place to find me and my many bad takes.
Nice.
You have good takes.
Okay, thank you. Every now and again, there's a bad take about a movie. Like I don't like Lord of the Rings, so like that every now and again it slips in. But apart from that,
I'll allow it. I'll I'll let it slide.
So that's it from us for another week. Like Georgie said, our next one will be on Jaws.
It's me being a shark.
That's Georgie's shark. It's very threatening.
Well.
Oh, I love it. All the sharks.
Emily.
There we go. I love it. Very quickly, Emily, what's your favourite shark?
Well, it has to be the Jaws shark, Bruce, right?
Bruce, nice.
Also,
love that.
Okay, my cat reacts so much to the Jaws music.
Ooh.
Like Predator mode,
Amazing.
run up to the TV. as soon as the Jaws music plays.
We will need a clip of that for next week's episode. Okay. I will just say that now. And also because I want to see Holmes running up to a TV with George.
Yeah, maybe that should be his middle name. You could call him Holmes.
I don't know what about the music, but there's just something. I think are there any other famous sharks though? Like I don't know.
The ones we find in Nemo,
which is called Bruce.
I don't like
after the Jaws shark. So
I'm scared of fish. So Finding Nemo
that's
doesn't.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Alice does.
The Meg. Bruce.
The Meg.
Okay,
right. I'll tell you guys something that was hilarious, and I shouldn't share this with the world, but I'm going to. I'm not going to reveal the name of the person. But the other day, I overheard in conversation someone's pronunciation of the megalodon, which honestly, I thought I was going to be sick after a while because I could not stop laughing. And it was, I don't know if I can say it properly now, but it was along the lines of the megalodorian.
No,
like, what now? Megalodolion, and I was like, what?
Was it Sharon?
It wasn't Sharon. Just call it Meg as well.
Like, I know. I was like, watch the film.
You can't say the full word.
Like it's very shortenable.
I was just like, wow, there's a whole thing happening there, and they didn't really understand what it was or if it was real, and I was like,
But I do think Bruce from Jaws is like King Shark, like
King Shark.
Yeah, there's no other shark to compare, really.
There's no sharks. Not as good though.
But he's the best shark.
I don't think any of them have names, which is a shame.
Yeah.
There's like the two-headed shark, which has always got like a special place in my heart. Love that.
Sharknado shark.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on. I've got so many of them shark films. I could name them forever.
I still just think nothing beats Bruce. Nothing beats Bruce.
That's fair.
The OG.
We
like it. He's a classic, and that's what we're about.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Stay safe. Be good, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.